What's up to all of my Virgos out there? Welcome to Pulse of the Cosmos. I am your astrologer, Emily, and today we are going to be taking a look at the astrology surrounding this full moon happening in Pisces. So this is going to be happening September 1st, 2nd of 2020, depending on where you are in the world. And for you guys, my Virgos, this is happening in your opposite sign, so it's in your 7th house. Of course, the sun is over there in your sign of Virgo. Happy birthday to you all. In the 1st house, and there's a lot of attention in this full moon to the relationships in your life. Of course, we're looking at the moon in your 7th house of the relationships that you're involved in, the partnerships that you're involved in, the projects that you're involved in, and we're really illuminating this area of your life and kind of releasing anything that's been hiding in the darkness there through this full moon, and really looking to push you and impel you to grow in directions where you're connecting with those relationships that are from a divine space and coming from kind of that transcendental soul energy, where there's a frequency match there and there's a growth element, and also where there's room for your individuality and there's not an imbalance in the give and take of energy between these two elements, between your partnerships, projects, and relationships, and between your identity and your individuality, and being able to balance the two, so there's not a, like I said, like this over giving or overtaking of energy between the two of these things. And you know, the moon is a really positive aspect with Uranus for this full moon. It's going to be sextiling over to Uranus in Taurus, which is in your 9th house. This is the 9th house of opportunities and the 9th house of expansion. And Uranus is really trying to shift your world in a direction that's opening you up to these opportunities and to this expansion. But with Saturn over there in your 5th house, your 5th house being the house of love, the house of creativity, the house of self-expression, we want to make sure we're not putting in any restrictions on ourselves to self-express and some form of self-sabotaging behavior or some form of self-defeatist behavior. You are worth being experienced in your entirety, my Virgos. It's just in standing up in that identity and standing up in that worth and standing up in that value. And, you know, we have Venus. Venus is in your 11th house, Cancer, and she's going to be in opposition to Saturn for this full moon. So it really is. Venus attracts things into her life. She attracts the kind of beauty, she attracts the kind of love, she attracts the kind of relationships into her life, and that makes sense for what she wants. And we're looking at the 11th house to deal with your future. So we're looking at the relationships, and are they helping to co-create the kind of beauty, love, and abundance you're seeking in this life? Or is there some kind of restriction where you don't feel comfortable enough in the relationships in your life? Like there's a form to fully express in your forms of individuality and also come together in a nurtured partnership, project, or relationship to grow. So there's a lot to look at there. But if these things are being illuminated in your life and you're feeling that divine connection and you're feeling that divine energy and you're feeling almost even these kind of breakthrough moments, kind of lean into that and lean into these areas of your life that are opening up new areas of exploration that are coming from that sense of inner worth and inner groundedness and inner love and inner knowing. So in any case, let me see here. We are going to pull from the cards for you guys, my Virgos, and see what's going on there. The moon. This is the first card we pulled. Okay, and then we got the 4 of Swords coming up next here. And then we have the 8 of Swords coming up next here. So interesting. So getting the moon crossed by the 4 of Swords really screams to me that there's a lot of Virgos out there that are really overwhelmed with an influx of emotion that could even be causing an extreme amount of mental anxiety, where you feel like you're not allowed to mentally lay at rest, as all of these emotions might be bubbling up to the surface. And this could be surrounding relationships and projects and partnerships you're involved in. And you know, we don't need to have a sense of fatality about all of these things, a sense of such ultimate ending. When we're looking at the sun in Virgo, your sign, we're looking at the North Node in Gemini, we're looking at the smaller shifts and changes that we can make in our reality, kind of the minutiae and the details that will ultimately radically shift us into these more positive, more aligned spaces. But we don't need to go and get so overwhelmed in this kind of like radical oppressive situation where we're blowing situations out of proportion into our head and letting our emotions really kind of overwhelm us and put us into these spaces where there's all that mental anxiety and we feel like we can't just get that moment of rest. And this is even further affirmed by pulling this Eight of Swords upright. This is a lot of feeling like you're in bondage, but the message of this card is that the bondage is kind of your own self, of your own mind, of your own making. You can see this figure here, this woman, she's wrapped up kind of loosely in these claws. She's got 8 swords around her. There's not a soul standing around. The castle's all the way back there. You have the ability to kind of cut yourself free from some of these mental anxieties and really look at the situations in your life where you might be investing so much worry and so much panic or fear or whatever it looks like into, where all these emotions are coming up. Really kind of step back from those as a conscious observer and see what small steps and small directions that you can start taking in your life to kind of we can just start unraveling here. We can just start the unraveling process. How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. We don't have to overwhelm ourselves through this process. But in any case, my Virgos, I love you all so, so much. This new moon is going to bring opportunities of expansion. And I want you all to be kind of ready for that and open to that as these opportunities come present in your life. But in any case, like I said, I love you all and I will see you next time.